Good morning and welcome to Classic Country Backstories. I'm Colleen Gallagher. It's about 6:30 here in Southeast Missouri, and we're getting ready to take a trip. So I wanted to take y'all along with us on that trip today. Thought you might be interested to see how we do things and how we film our shows. So we're going to take a trip. Do you have any idea where we're going? If you guessed Nashville, you're right. We're going to go to Nashville. We're going to spend the weekend filming. Got a lot of cool stuff going on down there. So we're really excited about that. But we still have a whole day ahead of us before that even starts. Like I said, it's 6:30 in the morning. So I'm here at home in Southeast Missouri, getting ready to go to work. Yep, still have a day job for a couple more years anyway. And so I'm going to go to school and teach reading intervention today. And Jim is actually at work right now. He works nights, so he'll be in a little bit before 9 a.m. this morning. He'll take a little bit of a nap. I'll go to school. When I get in, we're going to take off and we're going to head to Nashville. Makes for a long day getting there, but we sure have a ball. So come along with us, won't you?
Nashville, Tennessee, country music capital of the world, home of the Grand Ole Opry, where singers and dreamers come seeking stardom. Join me as we learn about the lives and careers of those who built this town on Classic Country Backstories. So here I am again. It's about 3:25. Just made it home from school, and Jim's had a nap, and he's loaded the truck up, and I'm putting my stuff in the truck as we speak, getting ready for our road trip. That's a little close, isn't it? We're excited to be going this weekend. The weather's going to be nice, and I'm so glad we get to do this. Hard telling what we'll get into this weekend. See, we have all of our equipment back here and our suitcases and all that good stuff. So we're ready for a road trip. And there's Jim. Jim, how many hours of sleep have you had?
About an hour and a half.
So he's had about an hour and a half sleep. He worked last night, so he's getting ready to drive.
Caffeine is your friend.
Caffeine is definitely your friend. But we're excited. This is what we do.
Life on the road.
Life on the road, you bet. See you in a little bit. As he has done so many times before, Jim gets in the driver's seat. We pulled out of the driveway around 4 o'clock. I'm so glad that Jim loves Nashville as much as I do. I've been making this trip since 1974 when I was just 8 years old. The trip is some 230 miles, traveling through Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and finally into Tennessee. So we leave home and we drive. And we drive. And we drive. And we drive. When I was a kid and we were making the trip, I would get excited when we reached Clarksville, about 50 miles outside Nashville on Highway 24. I would watch the road signs as the miles to Nashville got smaller and smaller. I knew we were getting close, and I would feel a sense of elation that we were almost there. I still feel like that today. We usually stay just north of Nashville, outside Hendersonville with some friends. Once we make it to our friend's house, we catch up with them and crash for the night. Every day during our trip is different. Today's main goal is to get some footage of the outside of the Grand Ole Opry building for an episode we're doing on the program's history. Along the way, I try to capture some shots of some things we may use for future episodes. I lived in Hendersonville for a time in the late 80s. So many great stars have lived in this once quiet little suburb of Nashville. Johnny Cash, June Carter, Roy Orbison, Marty Stewart and Connie Smith, the Oak Ridge Boys, Gary Allen, Lefty Frizzell, Kelly Clarkson, and even Taylor Swift. We decided to run by one of Hendersonville's most well-known homes from the past, Conway Twitty's home in Twitty City, which is now owned by Trinity Broadcasting Company. There's a theater on the property that was originally used by Conway Twitty. The 2,000-seat theater is home to the Mike Huckabee Show and has also been used for filming projects, concerts, and other events. In December of 2023, an EF2 tornado caused extensive damage to the Trinity property and the surrounding area of Hendersonville. At first, it sounded like Conway's home was going to be destroyed, but fans and community members rallied to save the structure. Trinity Broadcasting decided not to demolish it, and here it stands today. It's a little worse for wear, and it needs a new roof, as does many other buildings on the 30-acre property. I hope that maybe one day the house will be renovated and opened so that we can tour it. Walking by the guard hut and the private entrance, you can imagine Conway pulling up, putting in the gate code, and driving into the back entrance. We drive through Hendersonville, which has become a really busy area over the past several years. It is much more built up and crowded than it was when I lived here, but it still has lots of charm. Here's Old Hickory Lake. Traveling to downtown Nashville is both exciting and nerve-wracking. In 2023, it was reported that 86 people moved to Nashville and the metropolitan area each day. That's more than 30,000 people a year. The traffic is terrible, and there's always been road construction for as long as I can remember. When it seems there's no more room for construction, more buildings pop up. I think the Tennessee state bird should be the crane. Thanks, I'll be here all week. Of course, you can't go to Nashville without making a trip to Broadway. That is, if you have the energy to fight the crowds. Broadway has over 30 bars and restaurants with a wide array of musical tastes. You don't hear lots of traditional country music there, but it's a must-see for someone visiting the downtown area. The original Ernest Tubbs Record Shop, which makes its home on Broadway, has been renovated and has recently reopened. We haven't seen it yet, but we're excited to visit when we get a chance. If you're not into the Nashville music scene, there are plenty of things to do down here. However, if you're watching Classic Country Backstories, I'm sure that's not the case. If you want to see what Nashville has to offer, I would suggest the Old Town Trolley Tour. The trolley has 13 stops around town where you can get off and see all the sights, such as the Parthenon, Broadway, the Ryman, and so many other great places. You can ride all day or hop on and off all day with one ticket price. The downtown area is way too big to walk, so this is a nice option. The drivers also give a narrative of the city's history and what's happening now. We're not sponsored by Old Town Trolley Tour, but Jim and I took this tour with some family members recently, and we learned a lot about Music City that we didn't know. Just be prepared when you go that the trolleys are open air, so be mindful of the temperatures when you go. June is really hot, and November can be really cold. I think you get the point. The Gulch is a revitalized section of South Nashville where you can stay, shop, and eat. The Station Inn is located at the Gulch to satisfy your itch for bluegrass and country music. It's been around for a long time. Of course, there are tons of museums throughout Nashville, including the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Johnny Cash Museum, the Musicians Hall of Fame, the National Museum of African American Music, the Tennessee State Museum, and the Frist Art Museum. If you love history, Nashville is your town. You can visit the Belmont Mansion and the Belmead Mansion, Fort Negley, historic RCA Studio B. Just outside of Nashville in Franklin, there are many Civil War historical sites like the Carter House, the Lotes House, Eastern Flank Battlefield Park, and the Carton House are all rich with Franklin's history. Bridgestone Arena has a seating capacity of 20,000 people and hosts a variety of concerts and sporting events. Of course, there is the Titans Stadiums if you are a football lover. There are lots of fancy places in Nashville, such as the Hermitage Hotel, Union Station, and the Hilton. The Gaylord Opryland Resort is just 10 miles east of Nashville. Our favorite area of Nashville is off of Music Valley Drive, which is about 20 minutes from Nashville. Of course, we're here for traditional country music, and this is where you find it. The Nashville Palace, the Music City Bar and Grill, the Troubadour, and the Scoreboard are all great places when it comes to great food and music. This area is right next to the Grand Ole Opry and Opry Mills Mall, along with several hotels and restaurants. If you want to see a more laid-back part of Nashville, this is it. The Troubadour Theater is where Ernest Tubbs' Midnight Jamboree was broadcast. Next to the Troubadour is the former home of the Ernest Tubb record shops. It's now called Ollie's Vintage. If you get a chance, go inside and see Ernest Tubbs' 1964 Silver Eagle bus, the Green Hornet. It's a cool place to visit, and staff is always very friendly. When the record shop was initially built here, the front of the building was constructed after the bus was put in its designated spot. Of course, now, if the bus is ever to be moved, the wall has to be knocked down. I hope it never happens. From 1979 to 1995, Ernest Tubbs' Midnight Jamboree was broadcast from this spot where the vintage store is. I'm so proud to say that I had the honor of doing the Midnight Jamboree in this very spot somewhere around 1980 with Ernest Tubb. What an incredible honor to be introduced by the Texas troubadour himself. Sorry if I've gotten a little off track, but I get excited when I talk about Nashville, and I enjoy telling everyone how great this city truly is. If you haven't been here, you're missing out. Don't wait. Over the course of 2 days, we've been all over Nashville and even had the honor of attending a private party to honor June Carter on the afternoon prior to her induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame. The event was held at the Bard Room in downtown Nashville. What a beautiful place. June's children, Carlene Carter and John Carter Cash, were on hand, along with many family members of June. It's still amazing to me that she wasn't already a member of the Hall of Fame. It's been an amazing time in Nashville, but it's time to head home. We always have a great time, and we're already planning our next adventure here. For now, it's time to drive. And drive. And drive. I hope you had a good time on our little trip. We've been asked how all this comes together, now you know. It takes a lot of work to put together a simple little show on traditional country music, but we love it. So until next time, take care, God bless, and we'll see you later.